Yeah, the sort of diversity of strategies may be lacking for them a little bit. Although, on that sort of same note, we're seeing a lot of familiar faces so far in this draft. Mystery Machine with the Mars Ember duo, DogChamp Io Storm, as we pointed out earlier, something that they were running with their previous lineup as well. So we're kind of deep into the patch at this point, ET. It really feels like things have settled down. We're not seeing too much in the way of risk taking or innovation right now. It's just who can sort of execute what we've been used to seeing.
Yeah, it feels as if Dota has been figured out is the term that I keep on getting here tossed around, and it does feel like we're kind of there. There hasn't been a big change up in a very long time. There've been a few items maybe swapped up, maybe changed. F Blade comes to mind, Orchid comes to mind, but we really are just kind of sitting in our seats waiting for that next big change, probably after the major. But who knows? We'll have to see after these qualifiers get done. But a patch would be nice, I think, is where we're all at. But in the meantime, Mr. Machine are banning offlaners. They picked up their offlaners. Very solid strategy where you do pick up your Mars in the first phase. You just try to thin out the pool as much as you can. Meanwhile, DogChamp speed might be pushed to his limits a little bit with how many offlaners really are being taken out here, but it's Mr. Machine pulling their advantage.
And yeah, and in the last couple of months or so on this patch, that offlane pool has really not expanded all that massively. Obviously, there's plenty of heroes that you can still take, but the ones that feel the most comfortable for these teams are kind of the ones that you already see either in Mystery Machine's hands or on the board for them ban wise. So, not really sure how much is left. Mystery Machine, if they really do want to tighten those screws, could even go maybe a little bit further. We've seen some NA teams really focusing in on bands like the Viper and the Beastmaster just in case, but at this point, ET, it really kind of feels like the damage has been done. I don't know if they need to overcommit and really push that offlane ban further.
Yeah, if they wanted to ban another offlaner, another red hero, they could just take out the CK. But you're right, really, the offlane pool has kind of stayed the same. It's kind of a shame because you need a very specific thing from your offlaner in current Dota, and that's a big beefy boy who's either going in or he's being obnoxious and he's being that kind of wall that stops you from getting in onto that mid tower just a little bit later. And yeah, tiny ban, it's appropriate. I think a lot of teams, especially as we've gotten deeper into the patch, Tiny was so hot at the beginning of this patch where he was just immediately first phase ban picked. You would not play versus Tiny because if you played versus Tiny, you'd pretty much lose, or you'd have to pick Death Prophet and Kunkka and all of these heroes to try and counter him out to try and do anything versus that hero. But there's still that threat where this hero that's still very good, the meta's moved maybe a little bit, but if you get a late phase Tiny, you kind of just have this huge advantage, this huge rock advantage, especially over in Chinese DPC. They absolutely love that hero for a very good reason. You just kind of hit critical mass still, and then you just kill everyone, and then they can't kill you, and then you call GG at 25 minutes.
Right. And especially considering, we have glossed over it a little bit after the initial mention, but that's still an IO on the other side. IO Tiny, you don't let it happen. You just don't. If you let that through, then you take your L and you kind of deserve it. So, Mystery Machine banning it out. DogChamp, though, I like the emphasis now, the switch up to the support bans, a little bit more rare in Phase 2, but you look at the Mars Ember on Mystery Machine's side, those really kind of have to be core heroes.
Yeah, and I think DogChamp doing their homework, Juve played a lot of Bane in his season. At the same time, that Skywrath Mage is just brutal. It turns that Mars into just a turbo offlaner where suddenly you have so much magic damage, you have so much pickoff potential. Any arena can pretty much lead into a kill. Meanwhile, DogChamp, that's a pretty nifty pick. I like it. It's an interesting matchup versus the Ember Spirit. Of course, you have that root, you have that disable when he does initiate, you have the Phantom's Embrace, so that way you've got a little bit more control to play around. But this is also a hero that I think B9 just loves. I think he loves putting it on him. Don't know if he's going to play it. I think this might be Yaren's hero, but this is another style that Yaren also loves to play. I mean, Yaren back when I don't want to say the Kata was as good as it is right now, he likes to play that ranged forward that sits back, that nukes, that tries to get as many spells off. But I love this answer. I love the Nyx Assassin. I love this hero so much. Seeing it get picked up again over in Chinese DPC, it's been the hero that has made that Kata so much less popular in that region. The Nyx Assassin is here to play, and I think it has so many good matchups now. We must be seeing this hero more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in both NA and SA, the Nyx has maybe not been accelerating in popularity quite as much as the Chinese region, like you mentioned, but they are starting to catch on. The hero, I would say, never really bottomed out. Nyx was never at a point where no one was picking it. It just wasn't always as popular. But now looking at the DogChamp lineup, there's a whole hell of a lot the Knicks can do to disrupt that initiation. And now with the disruptor on the lineup as well, DogChamp, they're going to have to be very careful about how they initiate. The CK at least gives them someone relatively beefy to just sort of run behind, but it's still going to be tough for them.
Yeah, and now I'm kind of wondering what Dogship want to do because, well, Grimstroke CK is an incredible lane, but that does mean that the Ion is going to get shifted over towards that off lane. Maybe we see Yarn take it up actually at the end of the day here and then lane up with speed, which I also think is a fantastic solution. But I do like the CK versus the Nyx Assassin. If the Nyx Assassin is going to be picked up in the position that it was, well, you might as well pick up an illusion carry. You might as well send these heroes or rather, I guess, these literal illusions to send out onto the lanes to get that split push going. It's one of the best strategies versus Nyx Assassin, where if you can't really deal with him, then you stay together, you send your illusions out, and you stay as a core 5 team. And then suddenly, those pickoffs don't happen. The Nyx Assassin doesn't find his opening, and then he starts to be more of an information tool as opposed to that hero that always starts the fight. So I like the CK pick a lot. I think that hero is very strong in this game. At the same time, Mystery Machine might have a little bit of a damage problem right now. The Mars, of course, we highlight it with the Skyreth Mage, and unfortunately, as good as the hero the Nyx Assassin is versus that first 3 core of DogChamp, it doesn't give that Mars any more damage, really. You don't see a Nyx Assassin hit an Impale and you see a hero just shatter. It's going to be a much more control-oriented lineup, and I think that's where Mystery Machine, they really need a hard hitter here for Double King. They need something big coming from their safe lane.
Yeah, they're going to need some damage there because otherwise you're looking at your Ember, who we have seen ET in the past, emphasize a little bit more of a damage build, but it's kind of a mixed bag in terms of the results. So you would like for the Ember to be obviously the clear-cut second option and not have to be relied upon so heavily, but see DogChamp, yeah, taking some steps to try and remove some of those more problematic carries, the PL and the Medusa both taken away.
Yeah, and if I'm being honest, my Dota brain is telling me they're never gonna pick Troll in this situation. But knowing Double King, he just loves that hero so much. I don't think they're gonna do it. But as far as Double King hero goes, I think yet again DogChamp have just done their homework. They've really kind of narrowed in. And I mean, when you see a team like DogChamp banning out their own Wraith King, Stonebank is the one who's playing it the most, and okay,
Your
Double
Dota
King
brain
loves
is a
his Troll
genius.
Warlord. He loves his Troll Warlord so much. It's why he didn't make Div 1 the first time, or rather Div 2 the first time. But, we're not going to talk about that game. He doesn't talk about that game. But hey, that's a pretty solid pickup for him. He loves that hero. He's going to feel very comfortable on it. But at the same time, a little bit
Oh,
worried.
there's that
And that's
Viper.
a little bit of a counter. Yeah, the Viper's going to feel a little bit rough. Did they ban Razor? I don't even know if they banned Razor, if they just slammed it in all
Uh,
confidence there.
I
But
don't think they
the,
did,
the
no.
Viper's going to be pretty rough, though, regardless.
That's just not going to be fun. Offlane Viper. In terms of the picks, it was pretty rare. I think the ban rate was something like 2 or 3 times the pick rate, but when it went through, it was just unbelievably difficult to deal with. So DogChamp, well, I think they've done a pretty nice job here. As you said, ET really feels like they did their homework. They sort of scouted out what Mystery Machine would want, and obviously there's no guarantee of success, but I think they at least haven't dug themselves into a hole here draft-wise.
No, definitely not. I'm very interested to see how DogChamp do decide to lane it because it kind of feels a little bit awkward having as many range tiers as they do. Usually, you'd want a melee four to be out in front of this Viper, like the Tusker, the Earth Spirit, someone who can actually help him finish off the kills. And if there's one thing to be said, at least in the early phases, if this Viper does start to get out of control, there will be a lot of heroes TPing away from DogChamp. That's where Stonebank and Relia, they really need to save their spells. You could very easily see a situation arise where you just run out of stuns and then they run away from you and then you can't really do anything about it. But at the same time, DogChamp's lanes are so strong. If they start kind of balling out, they're going to start taking away that jungle so fast. And I don't know if a troll is going to have enough time in this game.
Yeah, that's always the thing. In the past, we talked about Troll as being one of those sort of I guess likening to Juggernaut here to a certain extent, where you had options. You could go for sort of the late game build, and you could also shift it up and go for something a little bit more fight oriented. It doesn't really feel like that's been the case in more recent times. Kind of seems like the build diversity on Troll has kind of narrowed.
Yeah, and it's always, I think, the simple question that you ask yourself, and you liken it to Jug, I'll liken it to PA, where do you have enough time to go for the Battle Fury build? Do you have enough
Mhm.
time to go for that item and then another item and then another item? It's one of those things that where you might not have enough time to actually go for it. I think that's where Double King in his Shift Q, he's going for the Maelstrom build, maybe playing it like into another hero like the Ursa. Unfortunately, this hill, it's the most hotly contested hill in all of Dota 2. Everybody always loses their word here, but yeah, there's going to be the D word.
It is a bit unfortunate, but hey, as you said, it's a hotly contested area. You kind of have to suspect the Radiant side's going to get there first. And now Yaren, that's a rough spot to be in, and he is going to get taken down. First blood to High Shaggy of all people. So, well, we talked about that Ember Spirit maybe being a bit of a linchpin, being leaned on a little bit more for consistent damage. Getting first blood is certainly going to give him an edge in the mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, realistically means he only needs to get 3 CS in the first 2 waves, and then he's going to have that bottle coming out to him. And I think making sure Shaggy gets a stable game is just going to make the rest of the lineup feel that much easier. And not to mention, this next Mars lane top, it just means he's going to have to be a little bit trickier. You know, your double melee off lanes, it's a reason why we see that 4 really be shifted into that more stereotypical ranged hero role where you're just kind of making the trades happen as opposed to going for kills. It just means you're going to see the creep cuts come out. You're going to see the pulls. You're going to see them be a little bit starved for XP. And in fact, the Nyx Assassin is actually walking bottom. Looks like they might try to get an early kill onto the Io or the Viper. And they do have to sit in their lanes, unfortunately, for DogChamp. They do have this Io in a very weird position, laning with the Viper. But if they can get an early kill here, this would be another good start for Mystery Machine.
Mm-hmm. And there's actually something I wanted to bring up for Mystery Machine. The lanes for DogChamp may be sturdy, but as you mentioned, there's not going to be a crazy amount of movement. And oh, I'll get to that point in a second, because speed. He is getting hit up with B9 here to heal him. I don't know if they have the damage to really finish this off, but Alicia's
Ooh.
trying to be intimidating. But now, yeah, Molly Burgos, you may not be able to get out of this one. He's going to pop the Fairy Fire, still has the DOT on him, but looks like he is going to survive. But that's the reveal of that tri-lane attempt, and I don't think the damage is really going to stick that long with B9 here.
Yeah, they really wanted to get onto the Viper there, and I think maybe just force the play a little bit too much. If they could swap over to the IO, I think that's probably a more likely kill. But now, unfortunately for Mystery Machine, this Nyx Assassin doesn't have the easiest time making his way back to the top lane. At the very least, they lost a little bit of control over on top. Stonebank wasn't able to keep the wave back, so Tib is getting a little bit of XP. But the more regen, the more the Nyx Assassin is forced to expend down bot, the less he's going to be able to give over. But
Okay,
speed was
here we
very
go
far
again.
up. This could be good.
Oh, the root. That might be enough to do it for him. Speed is dropping rapidly. Bloody Nine trying to heal, but he can't do it. Speed gets taken down, but over on the other side, well, you said Tib was getting some experience. Unfortunately, that comes to an end. Stonebank able to find the kill there on the CK.
Yeah, it's a little bit rough. Of course, you're laning versus arguably the strongest lane in Dota right now, alone. You know, I think Tib getting as much XP as he possibly can is just the goal here, but it's still rough. You know, he's gonna need to get his levels eventually somehow, but hopefully he can avoid a second death here. That would really set him behind. But Stonebank should have pretty much unrequited free farm.
Yeah, not a whole lot Tib can do by himself, but down in the bottom lane, well, there's another attempt. They're trying to push the pace, and they are going to be able to take down Bloody Nine, and, well, that gets me back to the point I was going to be making before that first fight broke out. The pace of play here for Mystery Machine, I think, is the #1 thing that I want to be looking out for. In their pro circuit tours, respectively, Mystery Machine averaged nearly twice as many kills as DogChamp. Of course, as we said before, Mystery Machine's playing D2, DogChamp's playing D1, so take that side with a grain of salt. But overall, Mystery Machine tended to play a little bit faster. Their wins came about 5 minutes faster on average than DogChamp as well. So they could push, try and set a more sort of up-tempo style, and DogChamp's lanes are strong, but once we get to that maybe 15-20 minute mark, I want to see how well they can sort of deal with that aggression. As speaking of aggression, middle lane, Ryoya trying to fight his way out of this one. He gets a kill, but High Shaggy is going to be the one who actually stays standing in this lane.
Yeah, no XP. That's highly unfortunate. It is just the interference coming from the Nyx Assassin. I think originally the Nyx was trying to set up for just a nice snipe on the bounty rune. He caused a little bit of a conflict there, then ended up chasing the storm all the way back to the tower. But again, trades in favor for the Ember Spirit, kind of balling out of control, and it's exactly what you want, especially if you're not able to block out that small camp as they weren't able to. Slowing down the Storm Spirit is going to be incredibly important.
Ryoya, well, not really a whole lot to be done there, right? He was forced into the fight, doesn't go his way, but farm-wise, it's not like he's really significantly lacking. It's just the kills that are making up the difference now as Yaren, oof. It was a good attempt, trying to get sneaky, but they might still find it. Ryoya gets the Vortex down, the silence will be applied, and Shaggy, not even close to level 6, can't jump away with the Remnant, and there's a little bit of revenge. Although, not directly for Ryoya. Yaren did sort of snag the kill there at the end, but gonna help to even the balance in that middle lane at least.
Yeah, and kind of the bloodbath continues. It's something that I think Mystery Machine are very good at recognizing, is that whenever there is that hero showing, they immediately put pressure somewhere else. Molly Burgos goes top, they give Tib a little bit of some recovery time versus the CK, force the salve out from Yaren, but it's where the dust settles, and I think you really are sad about that mid trade just a little bit more. And of course, Shaggy's got his Orb of Corrosion. Once he hits level 6, we might see him show up, just really be able to put pressure with that max out Sleight of Fist. But until then, the problem with the Storm Spirit hero is that you just need so little to get off the ground nowadays. He's about to get his 3rd null, and then really any rune could be a kill. And even then, it could just be a full mana pull, and then suddenly Ryoya is able to make a play. And especially with how low these heroes are going to get in these side lanes, especially down bottom, looking over that Double King, this Viper just sets up kills for Ryoya. And if he's not careful, it's just a simple TPN.
King, right on cue, getting sort of pushed back there, and there's their healing. Jubei's holding on to a salve, passes it over, so Double King should be okay, but okay is not where you want to be right now. You would very much like to basically be free farming this lane. You look at Double King's last hits, he's the lowest among the cores, so well, you pick the Viper kind of for this exact reason. He is just bullying Double King at the moment, and they're going in again. Might want to be careful, because Double King looked for a moment like he wanted to fight that, but this is not a fight he wins.
And Jubei as well. They'd have to be crazy, yeah. They will immediately start to back up here. I think this lane ward may be helping them make that decision a little bit faster. But yeah, this lane's bad. It's why a lot of the NA teams, and especially how at EG, just started loving that Viper. It just kind of wins your lane for you. And then you don't need to really care about all too much. Meanwhile, mid lane, though, Shaggy.
Top lane as well. Stonebank was able to find himself a kill. Shaggy, does he get away clean? Looks like he does. But Tib up in the top lane actually gets some revenge. Camera's in the wrong spot, my bad, but Stonebank sticks around afterwards, and your Mars is able to find a little bit of revenge for his dead teammate.
Yeah, and that pops level 6 of Tib. So now, if you find that initial stun, especially in the mid lane, if you get a chains into an arena, that's your way to kill Ryoya. Well, Illusion Rune might be a little bit more difficult to find that opening onto him, but I think making sure this Mars is getting involved, it's the only way you fix bottom, is if you get pressure elsewhere, you force that IO to maybe make some rotations, try to, you know, dislodge this Viper as much as you can. I think that's the only real solution here. Unfortunately, as is the story of this top lane, it's just kind of trade after trade. Nobody's going to survive for very long. Oh!
Can't even get the spear there. Somehow threads the needle between the two. That feels like a shot that was harder to miss than to hit, but no connection. Tib gets taken down, and, well, DogChamp still sort of holding as best as they can here. 2 out of 3 lanes kind of going their way, and I say 2 out of 3. I mean, you take a look at Ryoya, this is still pretty damn good. I mean, you give up a couple of kills to the Ember Spirit early, but he's 3rd in the net worth, he's got the 3 nulls, and you haven't seen that much pressure on him in a few minutes here.
Yeah, and really, I am looking at Ryoya right now. This is always the rotation. Whenever the Storm Spirit's forced back to base, he's always looking for a play on the tier 1s. It's why this hero is really as popular as it is. At the same time, if we had that same level of aggression, I was also going to think that maybe Tib looks for his rotation to the bot lane, because if you get that Viper in an arena, it's pretty much just a dead hero. But at the same time, we're waiting, but there's Ryoya showing in Speed's lane. He wants to get this kill onto Double King before level 6, but the ward, yeah, immediate back off. He knows that he's going to die if he steps forward on that wave.
Very well placed ward there, so now Ryoya just kind of has to sit here, take some farm, TP'd in, so bit of a bummer for him, and now they know that the Storm's not mid. You look at Shaggy sort of moving his way in, that Grimstroke, that poor Grimstroke, just wanted to soak up some experience, not going to get the chance to, but down bot, Jubei. Maybe we can't go on the Troll Warlord, but that is a much easier target in the Disruptor on the DogChamp side of things, so Ryoya still contributes to a kill, maybe not the one they were looking for, but momentum-wise, that is still going to be big for them, and now there could be a bit of a fight here. Molly Burgos is getting a little close, and yeah, Silence comes in, they're going to try and lock him down. A little bit too far forward. Didn't know those 2 heroes were coming up from the river, and by the time he finds out, it's too late. Now Shaggy He's got remnants. He should be fine, but he's copying a little bit of extra damage.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, and I think it's a very important kill for Ryoya to get after kind of the failure of bottom. But hey, you hit twice, you spend a lot of time not farming, but it's where the kills, it just makes up everything. And that's where you get into this kind of rhythm of Storm Spirit where you're just getting your resets, you walk back to base, you look for another TP in a few seconds here. And bottom lane, things are a little bit hairier now. You know, the troll, if he did decide to stick around, would be level 6, so that kill is not nearly as easy. But as for Shaggy being down here, this is a little bit strange. He would love a support kill. I don't think he can necessarily kill the Viper. At the same time, I think he's baiting with Jubei, but Jubei's not level 6, and okay, he's going, but okay.
Okay, but he gets
Oh,
pulled back in. I thought he had a remnant much further away than that, and well, I guess I thought wrong. Shaggy just kind of gets taken by surprise there. Thought he was maybe jumping in onto 1 or 2. Instead, that's 4 heroes who were more than ready to take him down.
yeah, no, that's unfortunate. It's a nice rotation from Stonebank as well. Without him, I don't think they get that, but the rotation of the carries, it happens, and unfortunately, the Mars is still taking top, and the Mars is not going to be alive for very much longer here if this connects, and oh man, they're just setting up kill after kill, and unfortunately, you can't TP out of that.
That's an optimistic TP, if nothing else, but not going to get away. And now does Ryoya actually go back with B9? No. Okay. They'll cut the tether. He'll stay in the jungle to farm. So I said just a few minutes ago that, you know, Mystery Machine were the squad that had been sort of pushing the tempo a little bit, but, or at least on the pro circuit, this is very much the opposite case right now. It's DogChamp who are dictating when and where these early fights happen. Stonebank is now going to head bot to get a tower and maybe a kill as well. Wow, Jubei just going to get blown up. Double King and High Shaggy are here. They're going to try and get onto that backline. They want to lock down Bloody Nine, but look at him just navigate his way through the tree line. Stonebank, though, is dropping low. Needs a little bit more help from that IO, but he's getting rooted up. Still trying to fight his way through this, and oh my god, he wins the first fight. Can he get the second as well? Shaggy, I don't think you want to be here anymore. He is going to try to buy time for the reinforcements to arrive, but the reinforcements get silenced. Molly Burgos locked down. Shaggy's not dead yet, but that was not exactly the fight-winning play they thought it would be, and now Shaggy's just got a TP, but he can't. Oh, that's the worst way for that fight to end. Molly Burgos gets in for some sort of return kill afterwards, but it comes at another cost. Ryoya spots Jubei respawning and trying to get back in, and that's just going to be another pick.
Yeah, and Jubei dies
Tib.
again.
Tib. Another TP. Will this one finish? No, it will not.
Yeah, they're just not really, I think, playing the strengths of their draft here, and I think it's also where DogChamp are doing a really good job. They're, I want to say, dangling these cores in front of these heroes where Mystery Machine, the entire kind of strategy here is to get on top of the Grimstroke. You need to get on top of the IO. You need to cut, really, the string off at the head, and then suddenly you've got an opening onto the cores after the fact, but without that opening, just hitting a CK for, you know, a minute hitting onto this Viper, it's just not gonna work. They're too durable with this backline support, and without those pickoffs, they're just gonna kind of start to fall behind. And I think now Tib, he's got to take a break. He's got to get his Blink Dagger. He's got to find his way into arena. We have not seen an arena yet in this game, and I think that lack of activity is really kind of just biting them, because now DogChamp, they get to freeze the game if they want to with this 4K lead. They're taking stacks right now. And okay, maybe Shaggy's able to steal a few, but it's just no opening. They're not finding their way back, at least level-wise. At the very least, my Burgos got that kill on CK bottom, and that gave him all but 2 levels. And I think they really need to find just a successful team fight anywhere.
Yeah, they're just sort of having to play a little too passively, considering what their draft looked like coming into this one. But credit to DogChamp. They have forced their opponents into this scenario, and they might look for a little bit more. Yeah, that ward at least going to reveal that Bloody Nine is here, but Ryoya and Yarn are still smoked up. Will they actually get an opening, though? Mystery Machine not backing off just yet. There's going to be the jump in. They want High Shaggy. Can they get him with the stun? Yes, they can. They're going to throw down the ult from Jubei, though, so they might be able to turn this one around, but Shaggy really does not have the health for this. He has to try and back off, but look at Speed getting that cutoff angle. Now we see an arena out from Tib, but that may be a little bit too late. They're still going to lose Shaggy. Suppose they get Bloody Nine in exchange, but I'm not sure that's going to be enough. Meanwhile, Speed just getting in here, trying to keep that fight going. Molly Burgos has to TP home. It looks like he's going to be able to make it away, but the same can't be said for his teammate. Tib tracked down by Ryoya. They're going to be able to find that second kill, so... Well, ET, that's a hell of a lot thrown out there. Multiple ults, I think 4 or 5 heroes from each team in the area. It's just the 3 kills in total, but once again, DogChamp come away the pretty clear victor of that one.
Yeah, and it's just very unfortunate they get the static storm down onto the storm spirit. You don't see that follow up from Tib. It's just maybe a
You
half step
die,
behind, and then
yet your
suddenly the chain
faith
drops.
lives
At the same
on.
time, seeing just the storm spirit just sitting there, a clicking the heroes that are soulbound, it just doesn't feel like they have enough damage on the mystery machine right now. And I think in stark contrast, this is a game where Double King wants to show up to these fights, but with how his lane went, he simply can't. He's gonna just now finish up his Maelstrom on the Troll Warlord, and I think that really is the difference. Is the CK is going to show up to the fights. He's gonna be mid. He's going to be there for your next stun. He kind of has to be, and it's just simply working. At the same time, mid. Oh, Maliburgos, it's such a strong bug. It's such a high-level Grimstroke. It's just so unfortunate.
No way out for him as they find the pickoff into Ryoya's hands. So, well, Storm, he's two-thirds of the way to a BKB at this point. That was an Orchid that was just picked up by your CK as well. So they are really starting to ramp up right now. And on the Mystery Machine side, as you were sort of alluding to, they really aren't ready with their full lineup. This would be a nice pick if they could get it quickly onto the Grimstroke, but Tib, a little bit further ahead than his teammates. They are going to get the Static Storm down, but now do they have the damage to actually finish any kills? Well, they find one, but the cost is going to be way too high. Shaggy just needs to try and get himself out, and he actually runs directly into his teammates. And this is a nice setup. Molly Burgos goes in, nice impale onto two. The relocate's a little bit late to save Ryoya. But now they want Stonebank. Can they get him, excuse me, not Stonebank, Double King. Pretty sure they're going to be able to finish him off once the ult comes to an end, and if you're Shaggy, you may have accidentally just led the opposing team to your carry. Not really sure if that's worth it to keep the Ember alive if the Troll Warlord goes down.
Yeah, and hey, it looked pretty, right? The impale onto two. Bloody Nine only survives because his relocate actually pulls him back. He was trying to save the Storm Spirit. If he did, then we'd be praising that IO like no tomorrow. But at the very least, they get a kill onto the Storm, give a little bit more gold over. But it's just the same problem where Stonebank is just got no animal. There's no predator. There's no one bigger than him right now. And with this Orchid build, he's certainly killable, but he's just so tanky. Just kind of as base with this armlet, there's not really enough. And I mean, you see how aggressive he's playing right now. And ooh, that's so close. That's so fast.
Ugh, almost had it, but now, well, Phantasm Illusions can get some damage onto the tower if nothing else. So gonna start chipping away, forcing Mystery Machine to bring some heroes over just in case this is a real push, and it's looking like it. That's gonna force out the Glyph as well. Now here comes Ryoya all the way in with the zip. Static Storm thrown down in exchange. Not gonna be enough to save Molly Burgos. And that really, no, isn't gonna be the end of it. Jubei was getting jumped in on. He's at least able to get off, oh my god, get off the glimpse, but Ryoya still wants to keep going, and he's got the mana to do so. He's just tracking this one down. Tib comes in to try and help, and I do believe that's enough to save Jubei's life, but at the cost of Tib himself. Stonebank pulls him back in. And just like the last fight, ET, they're not really trading the right heroes here. Tib falls to keep a Disruptor alive, and well, now the West Side Jungle has been forfeited. DogChamp really have complete control of the area.
Yeah, and it's where, unfortunately, you're really forcing your Troll and your Ember Spirit to play in the same lane at this point, and Shaggy, he's got the escape plan, but it's not going to happen. He's not going to get it off. He needs to it's just so close, and as soon as that kill happens, at least it frees up Double King, but it's always a core being forced to die top. Someone has to die to get this space, and it makes you wonder, is this item going to be enough? Is the BKB finished on either the Troll or the Ember Spirit really going to be what turns the tide of this game? I just wonder if we are hitting that point where, unfortunately, DogChamp are right there with you. They're getting BKBs of their own. They're going to have a triple BKB timing, and I think that might just be too strong. Speed, however, this is a nice catch, but he's going to get healed by the Eye if it gets through.
Or maybe not. They're actually just going to kind of sacrifice speed, but it means Ryoya is free to go on whoever he wants. Stonebank comes into the fight as well, and Double King, he's forced to pop the ult, but he's not going to get much of anything out of this. Once that wears off, there we go. Once it wears off, Stonebank finishes the kill. Triple kill for your CK, and ET, it kind of feels like Mystery Machine are getting to the bottom of the barrel now here in terms of actual ideas. They bring everybody into that fight, and really doesn't result in too much. And now Ryoya, are you serious, man? That's okay. Confidence,
Yeah,
knows that there's no one allowed to
Storm Spirit
challenge him.
players. These guys with regenerants, they think they're on top in the world, and I mean, I guess they really are. But yeah, like you said, it's getting to that point where I think once these BKBs are done and they're completed on 2 of the 3 cores on DogChamp's side, it's all up to the jump. It's whether or not Tib can find anything, and they surely killed Speed, but That relocate was also weird. It seemed like Ryoya didn't know where he was. It seemed like the Aya was also very hesitant to let go of that storm. Maybe not the prettiest thing in the world, but it's certainly feeling like an overwhelming advantage. I think really the only hero that they could try to kill yet again is both Yarn and Bloody Nine. They need to find their way in this backline. They need to ignore the cores. It's just the cores are always in front. They're always making you want to kill them. They're the only targets that really DogChamp are presenting here. And I think that's where the game plan's kind of starting to fall apart. I think after this BKB is finished up by the Troll and the Ember, that's going to be their try, their answer, where they can't afford to just dive completely onto that backline and try to kill these supports. If that fight doesn't go their way, though, you could probably see just a GG from TMM.
Yeah, as much as you sort of, yeah, you hate to see it, but yeah, they might just be sort of out of options once the BKBs are picked up, and if that somehow still doesn't work as Double King, this
Oh,
is not a good
DK.
place to be, and he's going to get jumped in on. There's going to be the initial silence into the stun, into the pullback. Take your hands off the keyboards, man. There's really just nothing to do there. Double King taken out, and Ryoya gets the kill. They're going to lead that directly into a Roche attempt, and this is not even remotely contestable by Mystery Machine.
No, the craziest thing they could do is they could go for a jump with Shaggy, try to go for a seal. They scan it out just maybe for posterity's sake, but it's the same old story where a core has to die top, Shaggy gets the TP out, he gets to be the lucky one in that situation, and he's going to be able to farm bottom. Just the same rotation the Troll made just a few minutes before, but it does make you wonder if they've just given up a little bit too much of their map at this point, and now it's where heroes like the Nyx Assassin doesn't feel the greatest.
That is a
Nice.
very aggressive
Okay.
relocate. Okay. Right on top of the Static Storm, but that's a Static Storm down, and that basically did not do any damage. Meanwhile, Jubei's just getting completely pushed out of this fight. They're going to be able to track him down. Ryoya zips in for the kill, and it could be falling apart here. Molly Burgos is going to get jumped in on, Impale off the mark. Ryoya picks up the double, and there's just not much of a response from Mystery Machine. They don't even have Shaggy in position. He was still pushing that bottom lane, so you can't really do anything here. BKB's finished. That's neat, but if you're not actually in the fight, it doesn't do you a whole lot of good.
Yeah, and well, this is going to be your push onto the high ground, and before this Ag Shard picked up on the Viper, their push was really not great, but that's where Viper Shard, that's something else. That's a very powerful shard, and is going to just mean this Rax is just going to fall incredibly fast. Yeah, nice pull, but I think this is just going to be a Rax and then a back, and they really have no reason to stick around here.
Okay, well, don't tell Stonebank that, because he just charged his way in. Doesn't have the vision, however, to actually continue on to the Nyx, so... Alright, I may have been a little preemptively sort of talking about the fight, although Shaggy, that's just too far forward. He's going to get stunned up. They do get the BKB on him, so he's going to be able to put some sort of resistance up, but look at the health levels here. They're just already so low, but if they can get Ryoya, that'd be big. They got through the first life, but,
Oh.
well, there's nothing left to fight with. They've lost Shaggy and Double King, and there's your GG. Speed will pick up one last kill, so too will Ryoya. Just padding the stats a bit there at the end, but... Oh, Tib? Will he live? Yes, he will. So they're not going to be able to make the full 5-man wipe, but DogChamp with a just straight-up dominant victory. 22 minutes, ET. They were ready to play, and Mystery Machine apparently were not.
Yeah, and a lot of reasons, a lot of things you could bring up. I think again, it goes back to the draft a little bit. DogChamp, incredibly strong opener, and Mystery Machine, I think maybe try to answer it a little bit too hard. They gamble with this troll pick, they get burnt hard by the last overall pick Viper. And I think that's really what it comes down to. DogChamp drafted their lanes to win, whereas Mystery Machine were certainly playing a little bit more comfy. Tiv, I mean, look at the hero levels. That speaks in itself. They've definitely gotten heroes that they enjoy, that they like, but at the same time, it certainly feels like maybe it wasn't the best tool for the job. It just felt like their draft just wasn't very cohesive. They needed to get way more pickoffs. They needed to get way more, I think, active in that 10 to 15 minute mark around really even before Tib got his blink dagger. We just never saw that rotation, I think, from that top lane to get on top of the Viper before he was, level 7, level 8, when he is killable. And I think that's where just the passivity from Mystery Machine, they're playing versus, a Div 1 team, right? Of course, DogChamp knocked down, but it's where I think they were just maybe a little bit outclassed, and they also just didn't draft nearly as nicely as DogChamp. DogChamp drafted the win, and Mystery Machine, I don't think we're really up to that speed.
Yeah, I mean, we were sort of maybe not making fun of them a little bit, but with that opening of IO and Storm Spirit, we were saying, this looks kind of par for the course for DogChamp, but every once in a while, just going with what's expected still works out pretty damn well for you. So very nicely done by DogChamp as they take the opening game of this series, and now they've got a chance to really just sort of slam the door in Mystery Machine's face. If they can replicate this performance in game two, ET, we could be on our way to a pretty swift 2-0.
Yeah, yeah, short day. Yeah, we'll see what happens. But I think that's where Mystery Machine very simply, and it's I want to say the strategy that EG specifically adopted, and I want to say spearheaded by Nightfall with his offlane is just if you draft to win your offlane, and they always draft so hard to win that lane, then it just simply comes easier. The mid game feels so much simpler when your offlaner is just so far ahead, and I think that's where we have the two kind of differing ideas here. Speed had a great lane. He had a great partner. He had a really easy time. Tib was sacrificed. They had to play a tri lane into that Viper. They fell behind in XP. They were always going to be playing from behind. And I think that's the first thing they could solve.
All right, we'll see if they make the situation a little bit smoother for Tib in game number two. For now, though, we are going to be stepping away here. Got some ads to play, got some breaks to take. So we will be back for game two of DogChamp versus Mystery Machine in about 10 minutes. So stick around. We'll be right back.